Have you ever stopped to think that some people might be sabotaging your dreams without you even realizing it? It might sound like an exaggeration, but the truth is that certain companies have the power to undermine your faith, derail your plans, and steal your opportunities. Maybe you've felt it before, that inexplicable tiredness or lack of motivation after talking with someone. The big controversy here is, are we choosing wisely who we let into our circle of trust? It may sound contradictory, but loving everyone does not mean giving unrestricted access to your life. Imagine starting a new year full of plans, goals, and hopes, but being surrounded by criticism, negativity, and even mockery about your faith and your values. It's like trying to build a house with broken bricks. The good news? There is a solution. Knowing how to identify these behaviors and learning to protect your energy is the secret to achieving everything God has in store for you. And believe it, you can transform your life with small changes in the way you deal with these people. So, let's understand together who these energy thieves are and how to shield your journey towards spiritual, emotional, and professional success. Ready? Because what comes next could be the turning point you've been waiting for. Tell me, did you like it or would you like to adjust something? There are people who, unknowingly, act as anchors in our lives, weighing down and hindering our progress. Among these, the ungodly stand out, those who despise spiritual values and live guided by their own rules. Imagine living with someone who constantly minimizes the importance of doing good, justifying their actions for momentary pleasure. This type of influence, even if subtle, can weaken our principles. The solution: identify these behaviors and set clear boundaries. The conscious sinner, on the other hand, is an even more dangerous figure. He knows right from wrong but chooses deliberately to ignore what is correct. Think of that colleague who understands the rules of the game but insists on breaking them all, believing that once won't hurt. Next to these people, we are tempted to relax our own values. How about observing the fruits of these people's actions and deciding if that's really what you want to reap? And the mockers? Oh, they have the power to undermine your confidence with a word or a gesture. They are the ones who mock your faith, your choices, and your dreams. It's like every attempt to move forward is met with laughter or a sarcastic comment. Have you been through this? A good practice is to avoid useless arguments and maintain emotional distance. After all, as our grandparents used to say, better alone than in bad company. The Bible, with its ancient wisdom, alerts us to the power of companies in shaping our paths. In Psalm 1, we read that the blessed is he who does not walk in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stand in the way of sinners, nor sit in the company of mockers. It's almost like a spiritual survival guide. Have you ever thought about the people you've been listening to lately? Do they push you towards good or plant doubts about your values? This reflection is crucial to align your choices with what truly matters. Proverbs 13 verse 20 reinforces this idea by saying that whoever walks with the wise will be wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm. It's like choosing the team with whom you want to run a marathon. Surrounding yourself with people who share the same vision and principles is a real gift. A practical example? If you aim to be more generous, get close to people who already live this virtue. By observing their actions, you learn and are inspired to replicate the best in them. And how about remembering the advice of 1 Corinthians 15 verse 33? Bad company corrupts good character. It's not an exaggeration. It's a pure reality. Think about that friend who always calls you for just one more drink or insists on cutting corners at work. The Bible invites us to be strategists, to love everyone, yes, but to choose wisely who has access to our inner circle. And, of course, this prepares us for the next big question: how to identify and resist negative influences. Negative influences can be compared to small leaks. At first, they seem harmless, but over time they cause great damage. A friend who criticizes your choices or a relative who jokes about your faith may seem like just a momentary joke. However, these attitudes erode trust and destabilize your journey. Can you imagine starting a grand project, but constantly hearing, "That's not going to work"? This is how these influences operate, planting the seed of doubt. The effects are not limited to the emotional. The impact can be spiritual and even physical. Science already proves that toxic relationships raise stress and harm mental health. Think about that relative who always brings negative energy to family gatherings, complaining about everything. The solution: set respectful limits, like choosing the moments and contexts to interact with these people. Your peace is worth more than any social obligation. The problem with bad influences is that they often come disguised as good intentions. Who hasn't heard a "it's for your own good" before a comment that actually discourages you? Recognizing these patterns is the first step to protecting yourself. After all, surrounding yourself with people who reinforce your values and boost your faith is not just advisable. It's essential. And how do you make this choice wisely? The answer lies in the next step: discernment. Discernment is like a lighthouse in the fog. It guides our decisions, especially when it comes to relationships. Knowing who should occupy the most important spaces in our life is essential to protect our peace and our faith. For example, imagine a colleague who constantly minimizes your efforts, suggesting shortcuts or dubious practices. Having discernment means identifying that, as friendly as they may seem, this person does not share the same values as you. And more importantly, it's learning to say no with serenity. Being selective in your connections is not being cold, but strategic. Think of a garden. For flowers to grow, you need to weed out the harmful plants. Similarly, your friendships and interactions should be nurtured with people who add and challenge you to be better. A good exercise is to reflect. Who in your life helps you stay focused on your purposes? Investing in these relationships is more than valid. It's necessary. Discerning also implies evaluating the impact of the attitudes of those around you. A relative who insists on negative behaviors may not be ill-intentioned, but still harms your walk. You don't need to cut ties, but you can redefine proximity. The Bible teaches us that it's possible to love without allowing these influences to shape who we are. And from this filter, we can build something even more valuable: positive relationships. Building positive relationships is like investing in a lasting treasure. It requires dedication, but the fruits are immeasurable. People who encourage you to grow spiritually, emotionally, and professionally are true gems. Imagine a friend who always prays for you, who encourages you to give your best. This type of connection not only inspires but creates an environment where you feel motivated to be your best version. If you don't yet have someone like this nearby, why not become that person for others? Healthy relationships demand reciprocity and commitment. It's not just about receiving support, but also about offering it. Have you thought about organizing a meeting with people who share similar values? Could be something simple like a coffee to discuss life projects or a Bible study group. These interactions help create deep and meaningful bonds. After all, true friendship is built on respect and shared interests. Moreover, the Bible reminds us that as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Therefore, by cultivating positive relationships, you also become a source of wisdom and support for others. Think about how your words and actions can impact the lives of those around you. And by reinforcing these connections, you prepare to face life's challenges with courage and resilience. Now, the question remains: how to apply all this practically in your daily life? Now is the time to put all this knowledge into practice. Think about the people around you. Do they help you grow or just pull you down? The time has come to establish clear boundaries and value those who truly want your well-being. Who will you prioritize from now on? Who will stay on your list of close relationships? And who needs to be kept at a respectful distance? Remember, loving is one thing, but allowing negative influences in your life is another. Be bold in rethinking your connections. Allow yourself to cultivate ties with people who pray for you, who celebrate your victories and help you recover from defeats. How about starting today to take actions to protect your heart and your faith? Perhaps a sincere conversation with someone you feel is harming you is the first step. Or even a time to reflect on who really should be part of your journey. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel and activate the notifications to continue learning about how to transform your life. We are together in this journey, and you deserve all the success and peace that God has reserved for you. Let's go. What's stopping you from starting now? Tell me, did it turn out well, or do you want to adjust something?